I have to say before anything else, I've said it before, I'll say it a million more times. I am so privileged to be working with this group of gamers. I am so just blown away every single game. I got to take a 45-minute break while you made me cry and then made me laugh. It was like I was watching a movie, and that's a feeling that when you get it as a GM, it feels really, really good. And you all are just absolutely fucking spectacular.
You're welcome.
Ah!
So, what part do you want to talk about first? That was a lot. That was a lot.
Oh, that was a lot. Oh, man.
Okay, I do have a question. Actually, I do actually have a question. This is a question for Rob. I'm sorry, I have to do this now before I forget it again.
Sure.
What is up with the fucking beard fetish?
What beard fetish? They're
So I had
dwarves.
brought
They
up-
value their beards.
I had brought up that Kretha specifically stated she had never attuned to Durgadin.
No, I had never actually attuned.
And then
so,
pointed out
yeah.
that Rob had said he counts as a belt of dwarven strength, which has the possibility of giving the thing it's attuned to a beard.
Yep, we had talked about that when we first had the whole thing with when we first had Durgadin show up, because it was a possibility that Echo could have had a beard.
Charlotte.
There was like
Charlotte.
Yeah, not Echo. So yeah, like that's actually something that was established
quite
a long time ago, but we just didn't talk about it.
Well, and like you've been using Durgadin as a +2 weapon, and that's fine. You don't need to attune for that. And now there have been dwarves that have been subconsciously deferring to you. That was a thing that happened in Waterdeep, but that's also like, it's stronger now that you're actually taking up an attunement slot with this item.
Yeah.
You never really got the mechanical benefit. At no point did I give you advantage on any social rolls against dwarves. I just had them sort of act a little bit deferential toward you. But
and I assumed that some of that was also because of the fact that she still kind of has the, I don't want to call it the stink, but the smell of Anduril, you know, like there's some weird stuff happening, you know.
So my question isn't like, you know, that part. It's the part where like his name is so similar to 3,800 other
Durgadin.
Durgadin.
Thank you. Durgadin was like, that would have been better if you had a beard on though.
Yeah.
That's because he's a dwarf, and dwarven women have beards.
You have to understand, stirring speeches are much better made through a respectable beard. I mean, that's just common sense. To dwarves, where all genders have beards or not, as they prefer.
Like,
Yes, and honestly, to be perfectly honest, after I said it, I felt like my intonation was not what I was going for. So I see where you got that from. But
oh my god,
it was more of a dwarf respects his or her or their beard. But yeah. It's just a funny little bit of dwarven lore that sometimes pops up. It's not all dwarves are that weird about beards, but this is a very traditional and very old dwarf.
Oh man.
Psychonthrope, really quick. I wanna address that question really quick. In the Forge of Fury, Anduril was the ghost of a dwarven wizard who died after the battle that destroyed the Forge of Fury, or that killed all the dwarves there. And
that Kretha got possessed by.
And he possessed Kretha for a session and a half.
Yep.
And they had a lot of sort of internal memory exchange, and then they found Durgadin's spirit within a weapon after the fact. And Durgadin immediately started referring to Kretha as Anduril because some part of Anduril was left behind in her. That's kind of the way it's gone. Today was the first day, I believe, I'd have to go back and look, that he actually used the name Kretha to refer to Kretha. He's been calling her Anduril ever since the beginning because he's an old spirit that's linked, responding to what is familiar to him.
Yeah, Anduril was his left hand. He was very high ranking.
His mage, his
Possible
advisor.
Like, yeah, the Sven to our Barnabas.
It was a lot. That was actually, I would say, one of the first big, crazy, heavy moments for Creetha.
I went back and watched that the possession scene again, and like the visions and everything. Yeah, it was good stuff, if I do say so myself.
Although talking about it, finally getting the Durgadin talked about the battle himself, talked about his death.
Yeah.
And his reasoning for staying and fighting to his death. And I thought that was yeah, because I'd been wondering about that. I had this idea for a while when Charlotte was carrying the weapon that if Durgadin had ever tried to like be like, no, you need to go here, and that like had ever tried to like wrest control, she would have brought up the fact of like, your leadership led your people to disaster. We're not going to listen to you. Yeah. Like, so it was super interesting to hear like the actual firsthand account of like, no, he stayed and all the people who stayed with him died, but it was to give the people who were fleeing a chance to get out.
Yeah.
And, you know, dwarven pride nonsense as well. A big heaping helping of that, but both, yeah.
That was part of the conversation.
Yeah, but we know, because we heard from him saying earlier that he knew a Boulder Shoulder lad who had been there at the Stone Tooth in his day 800 years ago, who had fled before the battle happened. So like that, there's so many things feeding into themselves here, and it's lovely to see, and then hear him talk about it himself.
Yeah. The Durgadin scene was absolutely fantastic.
I've underutilized him, I felt, and I'm really glad that he made a comeback today.
I think that now that she's more attuned, it may even be like they might wind up having more conversations because, you know, of the attunement, you know, because there was a bit of a separation, if you think about it, before.
Are the Klingons space dwarves?
Oh, yeah. I thought the Klingons were space orcs.
They're very space Viking-esque.
Yeah, space Viking. Yeah.
I'm sorry. As a side note, a psychonthrope, if you go to youtube.com/gamingmathematically and go to the Forge of Fury playlist, I believe it is session 8. That is of that, where all of that shit happens. Just, I mean, like, I think it's gonna be in there, judging by the like mini screen grabs. I think that's the one.
Yeah,
it was a really good one.
Yeah, it kind of shifted that focus. It really shifted Creetha's focus from from this you know, her favorite enemies were dwarves sort of a thing, and then she literally had a grieving dwarven spirit living in her head for a bit, and now she's attuned to, not only has she been carrying around Durgadin for a while, now she's attuned to Durgadin. So it's like she was saying, she has this newfound appreciation that keeps getting deeper for dwarves as people, rather than just this nebulous enemy that she grew up with, and I'm loving to see it.
If that had not happened, I actually would have to think that Creetha wouldn't actually be here. Like, as a character, she may not have continued on to like go to this part of the story. That's a huge reason that she's there. It's a huge reason that she's along.
And I did want to, man, that was one of my plans too, was like, before we left Triboar, I wanted to check in with Creetha and check in with Vic and be like, hey, we're heading to a war zone. Are you actually coming with us? And know that you're heading towards a war zone. Are we all okay with this? So, man, and that scene was very good, hearing the different reasons and motivations for why everybody is heading into this new arc.
Yeah, it's a good piece of setup.
Also, war.
Vic's like, what's another war?
It can't be that weird. Did Latrice get up and walk this time?
Well,
no?
I mean, that's
crazy. Did the undead kind of flesh blob together and then turn into things? No, okay.
Speaking of Vic, we got a lot of Vic lore tonight.
A lot.
We got a lot of Vic lore tonight. I was a big fan. I loved it.
we went like one level deeper. Like we'd had the story before, and now we have a little more context for the story.
You have leveled up to friendship level 2. Welcome.
Just keep giving her eggs or whatever it is that her Stardew Valley preferred gifts are.
I need to keep giving her non-native fruit. Yeah, that's...
Yes, I need non-native fruit. That's what.
Or asking her to info dump about
Oh yeah! Oh my goodness! Let her nerd out. God, like the best thing for Vic is just like, hey, I have a question about insert local flora here.
And the thing is that like they really haven't talked about that, but they're both rangers. They should be able to nerd out about ranger stuff, but they haven't really talked about that at all.
Like they're both rangers to an extent. Like Vic is not mechanically a ranger, but has all of the visual aspects of a ranger.
Yeah.
So like,
what is it? An outlander.
Yeah. Well, she's not. Well, yeah. I mean, yes. We're still oops all nobles here, guys.
That's true.
But like her lifestyle.
Her lifestyle is like, sup, I rough it because I can't figure out how to not rough it. I haven't figured that shit out. I'm working on it, and I figured it out by stove.
You're working your way towards glamping.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think Vic is fully a third of the way towards glamping, but Vic is large. And glamping, like her space for glamping is very small creature.
I mean, you really need a yurt, so
an air mattress.
They're not hard to make. It just takes time. It takes about a week to make a yurt.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I say with real life experience.
I know. I know how to make I've never made one, but I do know how to make one.
I have made one in college. Lovely.
Yeah.
Talking about lore dumps, we as players have all, and we've in these talkback shows have talked about it too, but I think this is the first time in character that Calder has told a PC that his family, like in blunt fucking words, is shitty.
It's absolutely awful. It's been a lot
I mean,
of very loud subtext since literally the very beginning of our campaign. But yeah, this is the most explicitly he's spoken about it.
I think it's very fun and interesting to see, because we all know what the differences in our characters are. A lot of us, you know, we start out, I mean, yeah, we're oops all nobles, but we all have different ideas. We're all working with different ideas of
differently too.
Yeah, but seeing the intersection of the things that our characters have in common and discovering them, because you know, when you start out with a group of characters and you don't know what's, I mean, you can pre-plan, you can pre-game, but there's something about organically discovering the things that make you like the same is just it's very nice. It's very emotionally fulfilling. And is one of the things I have always loved about role-playing and gaming to begin with, because yeah, differences make for a lot of good drama, but commonalities make for a lot of good like feeling.
Okay, so we are oops all nobles still.
We are oops all nobles. Yeah.
With the current group, there is some form of family trauma in everybody. What do we know? Like no, unless if somebody wants to drop late night lore about like each other's characters in game.
We're only learning little bits. That's I don't.
Yeah, but I mean, like if we were
Echo and Kreitha had that talk in which Kreitha called her dad a king. So Echo knows that. No one else in the party does, but Echo knows that Kreitha's dad is a king.
Yeah, and Echo is a chieftain, son of a chieftain.
Yeah, Echo was a war chief, and Calder was there to see him
take that mantle,
his father's throne, and become the war chief, and then give it away a day later. And he has also referred to himself to Kreitha as like, you are a war chief's family now. Like he retains the title.
Yeah, and we know that Calder is like the bastard kid of a bastard, but not in that way.
Yeah.
Literally and non-literally, respectively.
He
is the literal bastard of a metaphorical bastard.
Yeah, he did tell Kretha at the beginning of Waterdeep that he was a legitimized bastard. Like when he was talking about his noble signet ring and like how because Waterdeep is a place where you show this off and you use this. He did tell her about that.
Well, but we had also talked about being a bastard during the time that he was drunk. Because that was when we were discovering Kretha being the you know being from a bastard of I don't know if I said a king at that point, but I definitely remember pulling out my signet ring.
I'm gonna AFK real quick.
So but
Calder, Calder's knowledge of Kretha is largely inferred because we have a lot of information has been exchanged about everything, but Kretha is very quick to talk about her father and how her father and her are not that close, and has told us why, but is very quiet regarding her siblings, which tells Calder a lot, because Calder has a very bad relationship with his siblings, his half siblings, just like Kretha. So he, like, I would think more than most, would definitely catch those signs because he's lived them. And that's why he opened up a little bit there, just to let Kretha know you're not alone here.
And opening up is definitely like the smart choice in that situation, because Kretha, you know, that's something like you don't voluntarily give information.
That's
from
why he
in her it was okay with her mom and stuff like that, but like once she started being pulled into everything and her father started using her basically, and that's how she wound up down, you know, in the Forge of Fury.
I really hope Calder gets to meet your dad so I can threaten him, because that would be something to the effect of, by the time the time his day is through, Kretha is going to be your only legitimate heir left.
I was going to say, like, or any of your siblings. So thinking back, Calder saw Echo's brother the second before Echo cut him down in the first fight they got into, and Echo never said out loud that was his brother.
Yeah.
It was the one he stole the earring from.
Yeah, no, I don't remember. And
that was something that I did note back then, is you took the earring from one. You never did anything like that for any of the other goblins.
And then that was the earring that he gave to the hobgoblin that he left in charge of everybody, that he ceded his role of leader to.
Yeah.
So Echo has actually killed his brother on screen. That was like in the first fight that wasn't spiders.
Yeah. That's a moment.
Yeah,
that's a cool moment.
So it's super weird too, with the Echo extending the "I see you as my sister, you are family to me" to Kretha, and Kretha having complicated feelings about what being a sibling means, because she only has bad examples of it.
Meanwhile, you killed your own brother,
and then Calder gets that opportunity of, okay, I'm going to play Echo translator here.
Yeah,
like the similar dynamics are interesting, right? So there's royalty, right? There's like kind of used / fucked up by family. There's don't have a family right now, except for the ones that I've picked.
Yeah. Echo. So when I say brother, I don't mean that they had the same parents. This is a little lore droppy that we might not ever get to and thing, but I see the Sunless Citadel as it wasn't, the family structures in the Sunless Citadel were not assumed. Just because two goblins got together and made a kid does not mean that those two goblins were going to raise the kids. The kids were raised communally. And if one of the parents wants, but if one of the parents wants to claim a kid as their heir, they do. They have first pick. of the ones that they've sired or spawned or anything like that. And Echo had a father, but not every goblin in the Citadel has fathers and brothers, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. So, it's pretty bonkers, but it makes sense.
And so
it makes sense.
Echo's brother is someone who's same age as Echo, was in the same pool of kids from that year. They were all considered siblings. Does that make sense? That's how I've been having it in my head this whole time.
That makes total sense. And then like
only raised
we know that from on Vic's side, we know that Vic hasn't seen her family in however many years and has a fairy godmother and was like grew up under the care of said fairy godmother in the Feywild.
Yeah. Calder got the impression that from the name you're from a merchant family, and like the rest of us have no clue. So as far as like assumed nobility royalty status, Vic's the one who's flying under the radar. Like she wears a cornet, but that's about it.
Yep.
And you admit you come from a strange place, so don't know.
For the
wouldn't
audience,
really judge you if he did. So
for the audience, my background is Fey Lost Noble. So I have a dog tail. That's what it gives me. And I get weird dreams.
We are at the 3.5 hour mark ish. I think it would be a good time for us to go around, unless anybody has anything pressing they want to say first. Gail,
are we not
what's
going
up?
to talk about the fact that Jen made me cry?
There was that. I noticed those. The tearing up.
I was crying there too.
I couldn't tell if you were in character or not. Like how real those tears were.
Well, Olivia, I am autistic.
So it's the same thing.
Those are the same people.
Well, it's like
funny thing, it feels the exact same.
But I can like cry on command, and like I learned how to do it as a part of acting, and so I
cry on command. But that one I did not plan that shit. That just happened.
No, it's.
That was so hard. Are we not friends? Just like
no, I'm like, oh no.
So I, for those of you who don't know, Vic is very autistic. And one of the things that comes with being dope as fuck and also autistic is that it's really hard to tell if somebody is your friend because you don't have like the ability to read basic fucking social cues. In my real human life, I asked someone the other day, I was like, we're friends, right? Like, can I consider you a friend? Because maybe we are, but I need confirmation.
Oh, and then Vic got that confirmation, and then Kritha was like, yeah, I'm upset, and I felt really blindsided, but the fact that like in such a short period of time, like they do care about each other.
Oh, what's
I also had like a whole moment when Vic didn't when Vic wasn't there and Kritha didn't fucking spill the beans, and I was like, oh no, I was like you, the audience couldn't see this, but in our chat, I was like, don't you fucking dare though.
And then she didn't. And then even later, like Echo was paying attention. Like Echo was like, I know there's something here that the two of them are keeping between each other.
A secret has happened.
They said out loud, the secret. And Echo's like, okay, clocking that.
That was definitely a capitalized word.
Not gonna push it right now, but I'm clocking and I'm remembering that.
But and then
something happened.
And, yeah, Kritha. The thing is that Kritha is capable of recognizing that that her emotions were somewhat displaced after no longer being drunk and having a little bit of confirmation that like, okay, Baldur's okay. People don't apparently hate me, you know. But it's Kritha is a spy, and secrets are not just like they are a form of currency, whether it be monetary currency, like societal currency, or emotional currency. And Coretha is capable of recognizing the fact that if it's a secret that, like, she has things that she would not have, you know, wanted to say before a certain time. She does recognize that, okay, it really upset me because I felt like I should have been in on it, but I'm recognizing now that maybe
I am getting error messages saying that skipped frames are happening. Not sure exactly really what's happening. That said, the audio still seems to be going okay. I don't think it's on your end.
Yeah, it's doing it to me too.
Yeah, no worries. We are gonna have to go ahead and wrap this up then pretty quick.
All right, well then let me just real quick. DM, the fuck is that cliffhanger? Come on.
in his defense, I did suggest it.
You did, yeah. So I think that you might have to.
It was a good idea.
I can see it cinematically, him jumping off the thing, running towards them, opening the tent, you know, things, and then the camera's looking at him, and then we cut.
Yeah,
and then we cut it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Credit roll.
Because of all of the skip frames issue, we're gonna go ahead and skip our last little bit. Follow us on social media. Check the end of any of our VODs to get our social media stuff to follow us. Thanks very much for watching. Sorry about the curtailed end, but this was a super fun game. We will be doing this again next week. Tomorrow will be way too soon. Yep.